found a game that in the beginning invoked a similar feeling that Diner Dash did in the early 2000s, a game that I loved during my childhood. The nostalgia of hand-making drinks and sending them to customers to get good reactions was really intense in the beginning, and to make it even better, I was serving kitty customers in this game. But sadly, the more I played to try and 100% the game, the more issues popped up, and I noticed some quality of life stuff that just wasn't there. Rogue Duck Interactive is behind the game, and they are kind of known for games that ooze cozy vibes, colorful hand-drawn aesthetics, and simple gameplay. And Cats and Cups is the latest game that I have tried from them, and sadly, I think it falls a bit flat compared to the other games from them that I've played. So the premise of the game is simple. You own a cafe, and kitty customers come in and order different drinks. You start out with simple coffee drinks, coffee, espresso, different syrups, ice, waters, really simple stuff. As the game progresses, you will get different kinds of syrups for your coffee, and you will eventually expand into other drinks like tea, matcha, and Turkish coffee. Now, the thing that was really fun in the beginning is most of the ingredients that you are using to make the coffee come with little mini games. For the espresso, you need to grind down the coffee beans to make the espresso shot. When you get matcha, you have to mix the matcha. Other things, it's just a button, clicking to refill the ice machine, and making the espresso shot itself. And basically the mini games will go into how well you made the drink, and you will get a 1 to 5 star rating from the customer. Now, each day in your cafe will be about 3 minutes long, and just serve as many customers as you can in that allotted time frame, but you also will have to juggle actually running the cafe. What do I mean by that? Very simple. Certain people that are not customers can walk in, or you might need to call them. If you have a machine that breaks down, you need to call a mechanic. Milk is one of the few things that you will not have to buy yourself. You will have to order from the milk cat. And sadly, not all customers are good. If you see some dogs walk in, it's probably not a good sign. There is a thief that will appear, and until you get him out of your shop, he will continually take $5 from your money stash, and you will need to actually call the cops to get him out. There's also people that I assumed were landlords, but people say that they're just extorting you for money. Another dog will come in and want to take some money to leave you alone. You can give him the money and he will take it and leave, or you can say, no, I'm not giving you the money, but he will break multiple of your machines. So it is up to you if you want to take on the risk. Basically, how busy are you and do you need those machines? Now, once those 3 minutes are up and you close down the shop for the day, you actually move on to making croissants for the next morning. Now, at the beginning, you only have butter, and so you make plain croissants, but as you get further into the game, you can actually buy different ingredients like berries, caramel, honey, bunch of different things, and you actually have to find the recipe to make the about 17 or so different croissants. I enjoyed this mechanic. I saw some comments say that it was boring, it felt out of place, and they didn't enjoy that they had to be the ones to create the new recipes. But to that, I would like to point out that there is actually a recipe book that you can click on that same page, and it basically gives you grayed out versions of the ingredients that you need to use. So it's actually pretty simple to go through and get all of the recipes in a few turns. The only thing that is confusing is you have chocolate and caramel sauce, and their icons are basically the same except the color of the sauce itself is different. So that could be a challenge if you're trying to look at a grayed out version. Other than that, everything is pretty distinct, and it was super easy for me to go and get all of my croissants done pretty early on in the game. Now, once you are done making your croissants for the next day, you are free to kind of roam around the town. Now, the first shop that you will be introduced to is your restock shop for stuff like your teas, your syrups, your coffee beans, all of the drink essentials. Now, this is where I spent a lot of my money because this is where most of your upgrades will start. You start the entire game with just a bag of coffee beans and some vanilla syrup. There are several different syrup types, and I liked to just kind of collect them and add them on as I got the money for them, and then move on to getting the more expensive stuff like the matcha and the teas. Now this is also where you get your cups and straws, so make sure that you check those, because it feels like it's almost going to be a rite of passage in this game for you to think you have enough cups, but run out midway through the next day. Now once you were done there, if you've gotten far enough, you will have unlocked the bakery shop for you to get the ingredients to make different kind of croissants. This is where you will get stuff like cheese, ham, berries, honey, all this stuff to make your amazing new croissants. When you get further into the game, you will unlock a shop for all of the technology that you were using. Now, in a coffee shop, you have a lot of machines running, from the ice machine to the espresso machine to the coffee pot. And you start out with everything, but it's a bit slow. You can only do one espresso shot, the ice machine takes forever to make more ice, and it just feels very slow, especially when you are trying to optimize your runs to make the most money. So one of the best things to do is to invest in upgrades for the machines that you're using most frequently. I highly suggest the ice machine, because that was the thing that I was waiting for the most, the longest time, and the most frequent. Upgrading the ice machine to the top upgrade level was my best achievement in my own personal opinion. And these upgrades honestly don't even cost that much. I think the highest might go to 400 or 500 for one of the later upgrades. And I do see a difference whenever I upgraded my machines. So I very much say don't upgrade everything. There are certain machines that you certainly will be using more: ice machine, coffee grinder, and the espresso machine. Those are my top 3 suggestions for you to upgrade, especially early on, and you will see a huge difference mid-game whenever you are getting a bunch of orders. And lastly is the store that you will only be going to probably once you have most of your other stuff upgraded and your stock fully restocked. And that is more of a decoration shop. Now I will say some of these decorations are very useful and almost needed. I highly suggest getting the scratching post, because it will increase your customers' wait time before they become irritated, and therefore help you get more 5-star upgrades. I also suggest getting the tip jar, because you want tips, because that's more money and you can get more upgrades. Other things that are pretty helpful are the cutlery. There's 2 types of cutlery, and that means that each time a croissant is ordered, you will get more money for them. And also there is a machine that pre-makes the dough for the croissants. There are some others. There is a Lucky Cat statue and some plants, but they don't do a whole lot. The plants are actually solely decorative, so I mainly was grinding out the stuff that could give bonuses and help me in my shop. Now, running a one-man shop is very stressful, because that means you have to make every single drink. There is no way to get an assistant. You never know what the day is going to entail. There will always be a day to where you think that you have enough croissants or that you have enough cups, and you just won't. There will be a time to where 3 machines will just randomly go down in the middle of something, and you'll have to call the mechanic and wait. There will be days to where the ice machine is just taking forever, and that's the last step you need to finish the drink for this customer that is so close to walking out. I don't know how many times I've had it to where towards the end of the day I thought that I had croissants or I had matcha or tea, accepted the order only to find out I was completely out, and then had to toss the order in the trash and see the customer angrily walk out of my store. Now, before we get into the negatives, I do want to showcase some of the positives. This is a very turn your brain off type game. It is very fun if you are not trying to go for 100% and you just want to relax for 5-10 minutes and make some coffee for some cats. Very, very fun. There's a lot of variety with the teas, the coffee, the matcha, all of that stuff. I think that the characters are quite cute. There is no story from what I saw. The Steam page said that there would be story. I don't really see that. The cats do have personalities. I can see that very blatantly from their reactions when they walk in to when they get their order. And once you finish the order, the last step that you complete will turn it from a sad looking drink into the actual beverage that the customer is requesting, and that is also how you know that you've done it right. I think those are beautiful. I think that the environment's really nice looking, and I just think that if you are not trying to 100% this game, it's quite fun. Now, on to the negatives. I was actually really shocked because I thought that I would be the main person with gripes and complaints about this game, and I went to the Steam page to kind of validate and see if I've missed anything, if I was doing anything wrong. I like to do this with all the games that I review, that way I'm not going in blind with my own bias showing so much. But shockingly, a lot of people were not very happy with this game. And not even because of the primary reason that I was not very happy with it. I thought that this was still considered a pretty relaxing, cozy game, even with all my gripes and complaints about the quality of life issues, but a lot of people were saying that the game was contradicting itself by marketing itself as a cozy, relaxing cafe sim. They said that yes, the coffee making and the mini games were fun and relaxing, but the fact that the customers are counting down an irritation meter and will walk out if you don't serve them in time was stressful and making them more anxious. They weren't able to relax with the game. The only time that I really had issues with my customers threatening to walk out and leave because I wasn't making their drink fast enough was when I was trying to pull in 3 customers at a time and multitask and getting confused because I shouldn't be trying to multitask different drinks. Moving on to what I personally had issues with was a lot of quality of life things. The first being how the recipes are shown. Now, when someone orders the drink, you can accept it, and then there will be a recipe along with the basically receipt for the person, and you have to hover over it to see all the steps. I really wish that you could have some button to maybe you click it and it unravels and it stays open so that I can see all the ingredients and I can try and prep stuff faster instead of having to hover over it every single time. Some people also said that they would have liked to see some kind of checkoff system for whenever the drink had, say, ice or the syrup added. That way, if they're doing multiple things, they know what steps are already done. I also had the issue to where there's 3 different bar stools for the customers to come up to, and when you click on accept the order, it doesn't put the receipt in front of them. It puts it randomly onto the table in front of you, and I would waste time trying to figure out whose order was for who, and it was just really confusing. So if you could just have them in front of them. Like, one thing that does that really good, I think, is Galaxy Burger. The person that orders gets everything put on the screen in front of them, and when something is served to them, whether it be like the fries or the burger, it's checked off once they receive it. I think something in that, maybe you have to put the cup on the station in front of that person being served, and then it can start counting it. Something like that would have been really helpful, and I didn't even realize that that would have been something that would have made my life a lot easier until reading several comments that said basically the same thing. Now, some of the more irritating things is, like I said earlier, there's 3 bar stools in front of you, so there's a max of 3 people that can be waiting for you at your counter. Now, if you happen to have 2 people and a thief, you can't call the cops because there's no room for the cat police to show up and make the thief go away. So you actually have to serve one of the 2 customers and open up a slot for the police to come. That just is riddled with opportunity to lose a bunch of money, and especially if you're so close to an upgrade that you were wanting, that can be incredibly frustrating. The same with the milk cat and the mechanic. You have to have an open slot for them to have their delivery or their job be able to be done. This can just cause a lot of congestion and really annoying when you're on a good run or you're trying to just make as much money as you can. It's just really frustrating. I wish that they would have had something to where you have an entire cafe and you're supposed to design it and decorate it. Granted, you are stuck behind the counter at all times. I wish there would have been an opportunity for them to stand to the side as like special characters, because all of them are called from your phone. Just have them stand to the side and be able to do their job instead of take up one of the slots that is very crucial for you. And also, if all the slots are taken up, they can still do their job. A lot of people I saw were frustrated that the mechanic can only work on one machine at once, which I agree. Whenever I first tried to deny one of the dogs that was trying to get money from me, he broke 3 of my machines. And so I had to call 3 different mechanics to come and fix all the machines, and it was quite time consuming. So it's just something that's little, but when it happens to you, it's very, very frustrating, especially if you have a customer, then you have to wait for stuff to get done, and then you're probably waiting for something like the espresso machine to get back online so that you can make their espresso and get them out of the cafe. It's just an endless circle of waiting. And one thing that I found probably mid-game that really irritated me was how you make the croissants. Now, you get to the croissant making screen after closing, and I was just going along making the croissants, but I wanted to spend some of my money to get some berries to start making new croissant types. So I didn't make any croissants that night, and I was gonna go. I bought my berries and I tried to come back, and I was hoping, since I hadn't made any croissants, it would prompt me to, do you want to make croissants or something in that vein. No, it just puts you into the cafe the next day and you don't have any croissants. One thing that's really annoying is it basically time gates you to, you can only do this right after you close. You don't have any chance to go and get new ingredients, restock, nothing. That is very frustrating and seems so unnecessary to me, and a lot of people were upset with that. So just let us make croissants whenever we want. It's so frustrating, and the fact that you can only have 6, and if you're trying to do different types of ingredients, a lot of the times I ran into issues to where I was trying to make new types, so I was doing 6 new types of croissants a day. Someone would come and take one of the croissants, and then later someone would want the same croissant, but I'd already sold it, and so I just had to turn them away. So that was one that really frustrated me on and off throughout the game, and I just kind of had to accept it and prep my ingredients, and I had to continuously check at the end of the day, how many do I have? Do I think I need to make more? Because another thing that's added onto that is you can have 3 croissants left and go, oh, I should probably make more. The 3 that were already existing get deleted, and your batch of 6 goes in its place. And a bonus one that only applies to people who are trying to 100% the game, I was getting driven to the brink of insanity trying to get the 250 coffees served. No matter how many times I went through the day and I would serve perfect cups of coffee, I would have espresso in them, which I would assume would count as coffee. I was only getting 2 to maybe 4 on a really good run. The rare 4 additions to my count. I was going completely crazy. And you need so much money to 100% this game. So it gets to the point to where you have everything fully unlocked, you can't do anything new, and you are just constantly trying to optimize your run for the 3 minutes a day, and trying to get all of your coffee bags, trying to get the coffee served, and trying to get the deed to the cafe. And the most annoying thing is each bag of coffee beans costs $200, and you need to get 25 bags, 50 bags, and it takes so much money. And then after you've gotten all of your very expensive coffee bags, you now need to save up $15,000 to get the deed to the cafe. Once you get the deed to the cafe, that is the end of the game, and yay, you've won. Now, the saving grace that kept me from just dropping this game was the fact that you have a scratch off system, and you earn little scratch off tickets. You can go through and you try and find 3 of the same icon and you get money. I had, by the end of just grinding for about 2 hours, probably, I think I had 40 tickets, and I needed a couple thousand more to get to 15k to get the deed, and I was just like, I cannot serve another cup of coffee, I'm getting such a migraine. And so I scratched off everything, and with about 3 scratch off tickets to go, I had surpassed 15,000 coins, and I was able to buy the last achievement that I needed for this game. I will say the amount of money you need and the serving 250 coffees without acknowledgement of what needs to be done. I was serving 5-star, I was serving espressos, I was serving plain cups of coffee. They don't tell you, they don't say it needs to be plain coffee, it needs to be a 5-star espresso drink. I was going crazy because 3 minutes of constant grinding, I was getting, more than 4 orders out, and it was driving me nuts. That one was definitely the toughest mentally to get done. But if you're not going for 100%, you don't have to do that. You don't have to worry about it. So at the end of the day, looking at both the good things and the bad things, I think if you are just looking for a game that kind of invokes a similar style to Diner Dash, you gotta get stuff done in a time limit, that was cozy for me. The little anxiety of rushing around, making sure that the tables were sat and that they got food and you took their orders and you had to get the table of 4 purples out so that you could get the new table of 4 purples in from Diner Dash. That was really cozy for me, so I think that's why I didn't have an issue with there being countdown timers for all the customers, because I feel like all of these like food related games have that to an extent. So that didn't bother me. And I liked that there were so many mini games. I liked all of the different drinks. I liked being able to restock and make the croissants, even if it was time gated to only right after I closed. I did really enjoy a lot of this stuff, and I will say I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more if I hadn't have gone for 100%, but then again, I wouldn't have known really where to stop in this game if I hadn't gone for 100%, because it feels like you just unlock everything, and then you don't know if you should keep going or if you were done. So it's kind of an ambiguous when you can stop unless you grind for the $15,000, but that's gonna take any person who plays it a long time. But I will say, if you're playing for more than about 15 minutes a day, you're probably going to run into the issues with the quality of life that I mentioned, and that's just really frustrating, and it could have made the game a lot smoother, especially with the receipts. That is like my number one thing that I will stand on. If they change how the receipts and the recipes are shown, it would make it so much better. It would go up half a star point minimum. But I think that this can be a fun, chill game. I think that if you like these types of games, look it up on Steam. If you liked what you saw, maybe give it a try. Maybe put it on your wish list and snag it when it's on sale. But if you are an achievement hunter like I have become in the last quarter of 2025, beware that this is not a challenging 100%. I put it at like C tier difficulty. It's a grind. It's a long grind. But you don't have to change your playstyle at all. You don't have to do wacky things. You don't have to Google anything. The achievements are right there, plain as day. It's just going to take you a lot of time. I racked in 7.5 hours in this game, start to finish, and I had the achievements in the back of my mind the entire time. So that just puts into perspective how long this might take you if you were trying to get 100%. And I really just have to say that I do think if you're just playing it, this is probably a 3 out of 5 game. If you're playing it for an achievement to get that blue ribbon on Steam, 2 out of 5. And as someone who went for 100% to try and get everything the game has to offer, it gets a 2 out of 5. I feel like the game needs some more substance that would have bumped it up substantially. I feel like I got the ingredients and then there was nothing else. Which, I mean, that's what the game is trying to be, so I can't even fault it for that, but I just wanted more from the game. So sadly, it gets a 2 out of 5 stars from me. I just don't know if I can recommend this game over other games that are in a similar genre. Like, I would 100% say play Galaxy Burger over this. And many people have even said Good Coffee, Great Coffee is in a similar vein. I've tried like a few minutes of it and I did see a similarity. People have recommended that free game over this. So sadly, I don't think I can recommend this game. It's cute, it's fun. I'm glad that I played it, but I also just can't recommend people spend their money on this. So with that ends this kind of sad Cats and Cups review. My next review is going to be happier though, so if you want to see games that I do recommend, hit subscribe and come back for later videos. And if you think that I did a good job with this one, even if it's just to tell you to avoid spending money on a game, give me a thumbs up because it does help the channel get recognized and motivates me to continue this. But thank you everyone who watched. I do hope you got something out of this video, even if it's to just not play this game that you might have not even heard of. But that is it for me for today. Once again, if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of my content reviewing primarily indie games that you might not have even heard of, make sure to give me a subscribe so you don't lose me in the sea of YouTube content. And with that, I hope to see you in a future video. Bye guys.